You must give me the name of your plastic surgeon, dear. He seems to have worked absolute miracles for you." Lottie chuckled, but quickly covered her mouth with one hand. Her gaze darted back and forth between her best friend and the manifestly peeved redhead. "Can't you two rehearse a new scene once in a while?" An'gel glanced sharply at the two combatants. Dickce looked toward the door to see Serinda Hetherington, her ruby-red dress cut low to show off her ample cleavage, enter the room. Serinda had her long blonde hair piled high in order to show off her elegant neck, the product of a top-notch plastic surgeon in Jackson. She, unlike Arliss, never hid the fact she'd had work done. "Who's rehearsing?" Serinda asked. "Arliss and Barbie. Who else?" Dickce said with some asperity. "That's a gorgeous dress, Serinda. Did you find it on your last trip to New York?" "Thank you, Dickce." Serinda ran her hands down the skirt. "Yes, I did. I found a wonderful new designer. Remind me later and I'll give you her name." She eyed Dickce for a moment before she chose a chair nearby. "She can work wonders for small bosoms." Dickce didn't bat an eyelash before she responded. "I see she works wonders with thick waists as well." Both Arliss and Lottie chuckled at that remark, and An'gel shot her sister a quelling look. Dickce resisted the temptation to stick out her tongue at An'gel. "I let myself in," a voice announced from the doorway. Everyone turned to greet the latest arrival. Reba Dalrymple, Dickce noted with waspish amusement, had worn a short skirt today, the better to show off her long, beautiful legs. How a woman of nearly 80 managed to keep her legs looking like that was a secret Reba never shared. Dickce wasn't in the least surprised to see the short skirt. Reba was obviously determined that Hadley Partridge would have a good look at her two best assets. Reba approached the sofa and seated herself between Arliss and Lottie. "Isn't Hadley here yet?" She glanced around the room. "He ought to be here any minute," Barbie replied. "As I recall, he was always punctual." "Yes, he was," Arliss said. Lottie and Serinda echoed her. Then they all glared at one another. Dickce had to suppress another urge to giggle. She hadn't been far wrong earlier when she referred to Hadley's harem. They were all, including An'gel and herself, excited to see Hadley again. If he turned up bald and overweight, they would all probably faint from the shock. The doorbell rang, and Dickce noticed that all heads turned immediately toward the doorway. Barbie hurried from the room. Dickce could hear the voices of Barbie and the latest arrival, and the newcomer sounded like a man. She could hardly bear the suspense while they waited for Barbie to bring Hadley, surely it was Hadley, into the room. She closed her eyes for a moment, and when she opened them, there he stood.